Hi, ladies. So, I decided today to speak about something more like casual, and I have this kind of chilling, relaxing vibe going on in the house. Everything is clean now, so I can just chill on sofa. I just need to make myself a cup of tea because I already had 2 coffees, and it's only, what time is it? It's 1:30. Yeah, no, 12:30. And that's already me having 2 coffees, so now it's time for my green tea. So today's subject is going to be about talking a little bit about babies, what happened, what changed after all those 5 months. We already have Peppy for 5 months. That's him sitting here and enjoying his swing. I don't know if you can see that. Let me stand up maybe. Who is here? Hey! What are you doing? You playing? Are you playing a little bit? So yeah, as you can see, he's already 5 months old, and it's just time's flying. It's really great, but I want to tell you everything. So if you're actually planning to have children, or you are pregnant and that's your first, so I can give you at least a little bit insight. And yeah, that's going to be today's video, just a little bit more chilling, but also talking about babies and how it changed our life completely. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea as well. So what happened? So we decided to have a child. This was our complete decision. We didn't really wanted to leave it for later on. We decided that there's never a perfect time for having a child. So after we came back in 2019 from holiday Egypt, we decided that's perfect time now to have a baby. I was already working about 6 months in my company, and I was like, do you know what, it's just, let's just do it, because as I'm saying, if you're going to wait, if you're going to just choosing which cup, if you're going to wait and think like, oh, there will be better time, there's never perfect time to have a child. And believe me, it's just better to do it once you're still younger than older, if you know what I mean. If I would think that, for us it was just perfect timing, because we, as I said, we came back from holiday. We knew that we want to have last holiday together, and this was our holiday in Egypt. We enjoyed a lot, and then we decided, let's just go for it. So we decided, as I said, we decided to have a baby, and we were lucky enough to actually try once, and I got pregnant. And then I started my pregnancy. I didn't really know what's going to happen, because I never had this kind of feeling. I was never about I was never about children. I didn't mind if my friend had a children, or I wanted to have a children one day, but I was never crazy about kids, some people see the child on the street in the pram and they were like, oh my goodness, and it's fine, it's just not who I am. I was never really interested so much about children as such. I would be more interested in the car, to be honest with you, because my father, he had his a workshop, and I always was more, I think, interested in the car than children. But once you have your own, this is actually slightly changing. So if I see that someone is walking with a child and I'm with my child, and then it's very easy to have a conversation with anyone who have it's very easy to have a conversation with someone who already have child and the similar age, because you can ask, you already know that what time most of the time the kids start walking. You can ask about sort of different questions, things that you would never think you're going to be interested in. But once you have your own, as I'm saying, it's changing for you. So it changed for me as well. So whenever I see someone, I had topic of the conversation, because you can always talk about children, and people love talking about children, especially their own. So it's easier when you actually try to start conversation. Another thing what I wanted to say is that as I said, I didn't really find any interest in children before. But once you actually get to this kind of moment that you give birth and you are there with your partner, and this moment, this I'm talking about seconds here, like when you actually, he is or she is born, and then like your life, your perspective is changing in, honestly, in matter of few days even, you know, everything is just changing. And I couldn't say that it changed for me straight away. I was very emotional. We were very emotional when he born. So we both like cried. It was for us unusual, but everybody told us that, all our friends who already have children, they told us that's how it's going to happen. That once he's born, you're going to have this kind of very emotional moment about him. So it did happen. So I need to say this is a real thing. What didn't happen for me, I needed a few days really to, so my head was like, it wasn't really like a sponge that I took it, oh, I have a baby now, and I really needed a few days to like understand what's going on. Like I have this little, I have this little human who destroyed our flat basically. I have this little human I need to take care of, and it took me about 2-3 days. Once we get home, we put him in his bed, in his basket. Then I really like, it's just something sweet for me. So it didn't really happen straight away. I knew that I have a baby, it's my baby, but I just needed a little bit more time to actually understand what's going on. You know, it wasn't like click straight away. It was a couple of days. So once we came back from hospital, we were in our house. It was just me, my partner, and a baby. And well, it's just like, as I said, it's when we got to the house, then it clicked in my brain that, oh, we have a baby. It's like just so weird, you know, it's not only you anymore. And I was like, my partner, he had a few days off as well, so we were like in this together, so I wasn't left alone. My mom was coming, I think she was, yes, so because he born on, his due date was Christmas Day, so 25th of December, but he, thanks goodness, born on 19th of December. So we were very glad that it didn't really happen on a Christmas, because, you know, we would like him to have his own special date, and we wanted to have a Christmas as well, so we wanted to go and have a meal with our parents, and my mom was coming from Poland to actually be there. So it was just, we were counting that he's going to born earlier, and he did. It happened, so it was a blessing, another blessing for us. All labor was very smooth for me. Once I got to the hospital, it was about, let me just very quickly go through it. So I went on the morning of 19th, about 5 on the morning. I felt that that's it, that's the day today. This is going to be a labor, because I already felt very like I knew it's going to happen this day. So I had more stronger contractions, and I called the hospital about 10 o'clock on the morning after 5 hours, and they said just wait until the contractions are so strong that you can't really you know, like you can't really stand up, sit down, do nothing really. It's like get to the stage. So around time, it was I think 1 o'clock, and my contractions from the beginning, from 5 p.m. from 5 a.m. it was very regular. So it was every, I think, I don't know, 2-3 minutes they were coming, and I was like, you know, let's just go to hospital. I called them before. They said, okay, so come to us and we will see what kind of stage you are. So we went to hospital. They said it's only 2.5 centimeter, and we need to wait. So either you can stay in the hospital or you go home and come back in few hours. So we were like thinking, you know, we were like, should we stay? We were like very teared up. Like we were thinking, both of us, that it would be better to be at home. But then we were thinking like, let's just stay for the safety. But eventually, and I could see that in the hospital, they want you to go home. They don't want you to stay there. You know, they have so much things to do that they're not going to take care of you if you're not giving birth. So we were like, okay, let's just go home. So we went home. I just decided to have maybe a little bit sleep, and then my water broke. and 1 hour we go to hospital, and I already was like 8 centimeters. They just said to me, it was so painful, they just said to me, that's it, it's not time even to go like to have a pool birth, because I want to have a birth in the water. It's no time to have anything like this. I was just asking for a epidural straight away, you know. I know myself, I know what kind of pain I can take, and I decided that from the beginning on my like when I was getting closer to end of my pregnancy, then I decided that I'm going to have any medicals that are available, and I'm not going to pretend that I am tough or something, because I'm not, you know. I have a headache and I will take paracetamol or ibuprofen, and I'm not going to once I'm in labor, I'm not going to you know, feel this pain, because if I want to have more kids, I wouldn't probably go through it again if I would be very like tired, exhausted, and you know, in such a pain that I would probably not go through it again. So I knew that if we want to have more kids, I just need to take as well anything they have. I'm going to take it, you know. So that's what happened. I asked straight away for epidural, and they said no, like we can give you gas. And I'm like, okay, give me gas. They don't give me anything, you know. They give me some kind of painkillers as well. Didn't really help. Give me gas. Gas was like a fun for me, because it didn't really give me anything. Like it just was like a fresh, like not even fresh. It was just like a inhaling air. Nothing. Give me nothing. Like if you're thinking about having like natural birth, then think about this twice, because like even gas that doesn't give you anything. You still feel every single like moment of this pain what is coming. Or once they give me gas, I said like I need more. This is just not enough, you know. So they straight away they're like. And I said like I want epidural. I just knew that you need to push them, because they're not going to give it to you. So they said to give me epidural, you actually need to take a blood first. So I said like that's fine. I don't have any problem to take blood. Like I can give it straight away. You know, I don't have any problem with that. So they took the blood, but. Meantime, they said, if you want, we can give you morphine. And I said, I was a little bit scared, because my friend told me that she was vomiting after. So I said about this, that I don't want anything that is going to make me vomit, because this is just going to, first of all, ruin our experience. You still going through the labor, you don't want this to be completely nightmare. So they said that this morphine has this kind of like something in it that you don't vomit after taking it. So I was like, okay, so just give it to me. So they gave me morphine, and it was just few minutes. I was like in heaven. Let me tell you, I didn't really need epidural after all, and it was too late. So yeah, so it was a bit too late for epidural, and they said, well, the labor started. So I was in the hospital about 5 o'clock, and it just happened straight away, you know. So I was very lucky. I need to say I'm very lucky. My friend, she told me she got in London, she was giving a birth, and it took her, she went to the hospital, she was there for about 36 hours, and eventually they needed to do C-sections, because her daughter was like in like emergency C-section. So imagine something like this, you know, you're 36 hours, you're struggling, you can't really breathe anymore, you can't even think anymore. So I considered myself like very lucky. It just happened 4 hours. I gave birth to my son. And after that, we stayed in hospital for one night. I didn't want to stay for any longer in the hospital. They knew, they were a little bit like pushing me to stay, but you know, I set my mind that they don't have time for you in hospital. At least here, like everyone in my hospital, in Wishaw Hospital, was absolutely amazing. But the truth is that they don't have time for you. They're just so busy with women giving birth all the time. A lot of things happening, you know, so they don't have enough staff. So it just was pointless for me to stay there. So they knew that I'm going to breastfeed, so they showed me how to do it. And because I didn't want to stay, they pushed me. They said to me that they would need to call a breastfeeding service, that they're going to check on me tomorrow on the morning if everything is okay with baby, because they don't really trust you going to breastfeed, you know what I mean? Like, well, I was like completely fine with it, because he attached only to the one breast. He only could eat from the left. He didn't want to eat from the right. And when the girls came from the breastfeeding team, they came here, we were sitting, we were chatting. It was absolutely brilliant experience. If you have this kind of service in your area, I completely, even if you don't really struggle, I would completely recommend you to even call them, just so they can check the baby and everything and give you extra advices, give you other like positions, how to breastfeed your baby and everything. Brilliant. So next few days I was only feeding from one breast, because he didn't really want to eat from the right. So I called again the team, and then one girl came, like new one, and she just showed me he was eating in a second. You know, I was struggling. I was like laughing like crazy, because I was struggling for 3 days to attach him to my right. And she just showed me, and he was eating from like literally 2 seconds, and he was eating from right breast. And I was like laughing like crazy. It's just like, it just shows you, if you have experience and practice in something, it just shows you, you know, especially when I was like first time mom, and I had no knowledge about breastfeeding whatsoever. So this service was brilliant. It was just brilliant. If you have, like I'm saying, if you have something like this in your area, just go for it. So he started eating from another breast. Still his favorite was left one, but then eventually I was giving him a little bit from right, because that would happen quite often, that your baby is going to choose which side he likes, and that's it. The other side is going to be struggle, and you still either need to pump, or you still need to force him a little bit to eat from the other side, because you don't want to lose milk if you want to breastfeed. I decided I'm going to breastfeed about 6 months. That was my idea, like in my head. Let's just try for 6 months. We're going to see, you know. He really enjoyed it, but once you give a baby a bottle, then he discovered a different world. He's eating much quicker. I was like enjoying as well more when he was eating from the bottle rather than from my breast. I was still giving him all the time my milk until he was 5 months, like now. But even yesterday I was giving him, he was already 5.5. Yesterday before sleep he just wanted to attach a little bit, but I don't really breastfeed him anymore, because it's very hard to explain this. Once you have a baby, you decide what is, you know, as well important for me. I have so many things going on in my life, so breastfeeding, he's this kind of baby that once you attach him, he need minimum 1 hour to actually get some amount of my milk. And 1 hour, you know, when you can give him a bottle, even if you express your own milk, and you can give him a bottle and he's going to eat it, and 5 minutes maximum, and he's going to fall asleep, and you have all this time to either clean the house, organize yourself. You know, for me it's just, you need to decide what is important for you. Either you maybe enjoy the breastfeeding process so much that you don't want to give him even like your own extract milk from the bottle, because baby can quickly forget about your breast. You know, once you give a bottle, it's just like why am I struggling so much? I just prefer to have a bottle, you know, and he will be screaming for a bottle. So that's completely private decision. Like I was thinking it's not going to be like, I didn't know, obviously. I didn't know, I never had a baby, didn't know how is the breastfeeding going to be. He was keen to breastfeed. It was struggle for me with time. I honestly have a lot of things going on, and I could see that he really enjoyed too as well. He was struggling. I have, you know, quite a big breast, so it was as well struggling. You need to always hold with 2 hands. You can't really express and feed him. It wouldn't work for me, you know. But yeah, well, I was still breastfeeding, but not so much. After first 3 weeks, he was only on breast, and I recommend, if you want to breastfeed, then don't even buy any formula or anything like this for first 3 weeks, because you're going to use it, and you don't want that. If you want to breastfeed and attach the baby correct, then don't buy anything. Don't have even bottle, because it's tempting. And if you don't have anything for first 3 weeks, you will like force yourself to actually try attach the baby, and baby is going to eat from you. But after, I just was like, you know, I was so hurt. My nipples were hurt because he was like a little bit not biting, but like it was very painful, because I was only breastfeeding from one breast most of the time. Then after 3 weeks, my sister bought me some formula, so my nipples could just like relax and rest. And after, discovering formula and how nice it is to actually have time for yourself as well, then I was like, just, I will just mix. And I did mix. I expressed my milk as well. I keep some in the fridge once he was hungry, but formula was as well great. And that's why, here in Scotland, I felt this kind of pressure that you need to breastfeed. And it's okay. I got the point that it's a lot of vitamins and everything, but the formula is so advanced that if you don't want to breastfeed, then your baby is going to survive that and nothing is going to happen to him, It's nice to give him some milk from you because it's your vitamins, whatever you're going to eat, it's going to get to him as well. But I'm completely not judging anyone, do what's right for you. And you can find here in Scotland there's more pressure for breastfeeding, and I got that. I was even going for breastfeeding classes. I was meeting other moms. It was great to hear other stories, see other children, different age. Again, I had no clue how the other kids, like how the child looks when it's 3 months, how the child looks like it's 6 months. No clue, because I was, like I said, never interested in babies. So I only started getting interested once I was pregnant, and I find out that, I need to do some kind of research to at least have some kind of idea. Yeah, breastfeeding, leave it completely to yourself. Decide what's important for you, what's not, what kind of priority you have, and just go with it. Don't listen to anyone who's telling you, you're doing something wrong because you don't breastfeed all the time. They might have a children 50 years ago. Let's say that someone's mom, grandmother, and they tell you, you should only breastfeed. This was different time. We are all much more busier now than women were before, once they had the children. So, everybody has their own stuff, and do what's right for you and for your baby. You're going to know inside you what's right for him and for her. I had moments when I feel a little bit guilty that, I didn't feed him for, let's say, 5 hours. And I felt a little bit guilty, like from my breast, I just gave him bottle. So I was like, let's just give him a breast, because I felt guilty as well. You have this kind of inside you. So again, what your situation is going to be different than everyone else, so do what's right for you. Yeah, so he started growing up. Now it's 5 months. What I'm going to say, I'm going to give you this kind of overview how I feel about things. If we would have another child. So once I was pregnant, we had this kind of vision that it would be great to have 3 boys. We knew that he's going to be a boy, and funny enough, in my family, every second daughter, and I'm second daughter, youngest, has always 2 boys. That's in my family how it's happening. And so I knew that it's going to be a boy probably. So then we have this kind of party revealing the gender of the baby. It was super exciting. I might even pop in a video so you will be able to see how it was. It was really cool. And now after having him, I feel like it's such an amazing journey. It's a lot of things are not the way I would expect it they will be, because I never had a baby. But overall, he's such a great child, and as you can see, he is moaning a little bit because he would prefer to be all the time be held by or sit on your laps all the time. But I'm trying to I don't want to spoil him as well, even when it comes to this kind of stuff. He's already a little bit picky when it comes. He doesn't want to sit down lay down for more than 15 minutes when he's alone. That's getting already stressed out. But he can't have everything, can he? But anyway, I was going to say about more children. So on the beginning of pregnancy, you were like, 3 boys would be great. My partner was like, 3 boys, I don't know, it's better to have 2. And now it's completely opposite. I am thinking, I could just have him. I don't really need more children. I feel so complete. And on the beginning, I felt like I still need more, but now I already have him 5 months, and I feel like I could just be me, him, and my partner. But my partner, he feels that he need to have some kind of sibling, so he is enough for me. Like, I could just be me, him, my partner. We would be happy, 3 of us. When you have a brother or sister, who are you watching, if you have a brother or sister, you know it's nice to have someone as well to talk to. So it will be great for him to have some kind of sibling. So but I know how hard it is when it comes to not sleeping all the time. You know, like literally I don't really sleep. I wake up 3-4 times a night, even now when he's 5 months, 5.5. He's just very hungry as well over the night, and once he eats, he has gas inside and he can't really relieve his tummy. So so I wake up every day. I wake up 3-4 times at night, and my partner, he's obviously working, so he doesn't really take care of him over the night. Once he comes from work, then he will, let's say, sit down with him. If he's very tired, I don't even want to bother him, because, you know, I'm at home as well. I get paid for that, not a lot, but I get paid to be with him. So I want him to spend time with dad, but his dad is working as well hard. So we need to, that's our, like, more my responsibility to make sure that the baby, you know, it's okay, you know. If we have a days that his father is off, then obviously he's taking care of him even more than me, because he knows that I need to rest, like, mentally as well from him. But I enjoy it a lot. I could stay with him much longer than like 9 months are paid in Scotland, I think. So I have paid till August, but then we're going to see what's going to happen. This is a little bit like, if I'm going to say something, I don't know how it's in your country, but in Poland, for example, I think it's 2 years, you get paid like 60%, I think, of your salary. Here, you don't really get paid % from your salary. You just get first 6 weeks paid from your employer, and after you get 149, I think, pounds a week. So as you can see, it's not a lot. You know, we have a mortgage to pay, we have bills to pay, and well, it is struggle when you actually from normal salary you're going for about 500-600 pounds a month, yeah. So yeah, I think like Scotland should work on a better system when it comes to maternity, because they obviously want young people as well to have children, to have more the growth of the population, of Scottish population. But the problem is that system is not really great here. And so yeah, as I was saying, benefits are not the best in Scotland, but I managed to get this first start grant for Peppy, and it was £600. And then you get a first food grant, I think, something like this, with this first start grant. And that's about, I think it's about £7 a week. And that's basically only for his food. So I can only buy, you get like a card, like a debit card, and you can buy for that his food, like bananas, milk, whatever. It's just there's a list that you can only buy through this card. You can't buy everything. Like you can't buy shopping for yourself, for example. Apart from that, there's also something called child benefit, and you get about, I think, £85 a month. So that's what we have as well. Universal credit, we only had that for 2 months, but still was great help. And because we had universal credit, we could apply for this first grant. So in total, maybe we got about, I don't know, 1,500 through all the government like help, which is brilliant because we could buy stuff for him, and you know, still he needed furniture and everything. So this was really great. But I know that there are countries when you have more. Yeah, my friend, she's from Sweden, and I know that she didn't even need to work like in Sweden. She was working in Scotland, but she moved end of her pregnancy to her home, and she didn't even need to work there. And Swedish government pay her full like cover, you know, because she has a child. So she's going to have straight away a second one, and I think she's going to pay straight away for the second baby. So you don't need to go back to work for 6 months. Because, well, imagine I'm having a child who is 5 months, he's going to be 9, and I need to go back to work for 6 months to like get paid again for maternity, you know. And how would I even manage to go for like full time. It's not possible, you know. So I think there's a hole, and the government, Scottish government, should actually think about this, that there should be some kind of better help for mother, because I'm sure there's a lot of women that would love to have a child, but because the help is so poor, then obviously it's a struggle, you know, and you don't want to have a child and give it to your grandparent, because that's not the reason you're having a child. Yeah, you're having a child because you want to raise it yourself and your partner. So yeah, going back to having child, what is like surprising is, for me, it was surprised that I need to wake up so many times over the night, and that's why I was thinking like having another one, and again another year you're not going to sleep. It is struggle, you know. Some people might think, oh, that's nothing, you know, I can have 5 children, you know, that's fine if you feel this way. I feel like I am struggling waking up every day 4 or 5 times even, and I love him so much that I don't really feel like I would need to have like more children to, like, I don't know, share this love or something. I also think like if you have another child, then you need to spread this time between him and another child, you know. So again, it's a little bit unfair to him, and again, if you have another child, you're not going to have so much. It's not going to be the same for the second child like the first one, yeah, because he already had only you and you were focusing on him completely, and the second child, you still have your first child, and then the second, you know, it's just, for me, I take things rational, so I'm trying to rationalize this as well. But obviously my partner, he want to have a child, and I got the point that it would be great for him to have a brother or sister. What is great is to see how he's developing and things he's doing, like every month doing more and more things. This is something really great. And even if you are not about kids like I wasn't, when you have your own, you feel different, you know, you have different feeling for this little human, and you know it's yours, and well, it's changing. It's completely a game changer. What we decided, we're not going to sacrifice. We like, both of us, we love traveling, and we knew that even if we're going to have a child, we're not going to sacrifice this part of our life because we're going to have a child. So we obviously, now we can't travel because of Corona, but once everything is gone, hopefully sooner than later, then first we're going to Slovakia and Poland just so he can meet all his cousins, and then we're thinking to go for nice, even like 1 or 2 weeks holiday, just to chill somewhere on the beach. I bet a lot of people now thinking about this. So yeah, so it's great being a mom. I completely love that. I love to being mom, being his mom. When it comes to other children, I still see other children. I can appreciate now more other children, not mine, because I have him. But I don't think I could. Maybe this is going to be a bit as well selfish what I'm going to say, but I know some people can like love other people's children. I don't think I would be able to love like someone else's child the same way like I love mine, you know. But it's, again, that's just how I feel, you know. For me, this kind of blood, this is just important, you know. I feel like this makes us even closer. So, but I have friends, they have, you know, they like adopted their partner's children, and they loving them and everything is fine, you know. Like for me, I don't think this would be like an option. I couldn't be fair, honest, like say I would love the same. Like if my partner had a babies already, like kids, I wouldn't be able, I think, to say that I'm going to love his children the same way like I'm going to love my child. I think just for me personally, I don't think this could happen, you know. But again, that's what I'm sharing with you. That's just what I want to share, yeah. But I know that a lot of people have this kind of like, I know stories that women they even like adopt children, you know. But now I heard actually a friend told me that woman adopt I think Chinese child, something like this, and she get famous on YouTube or Instagram. I don't know, because I really didn't really see a story, but I heard that then she give this child back. You know what I mean? Like, why would you then adopt a child if you have in your mind that you're going to give it back? You know, you already like this is such a destroying this child mentality, you know, his brain and everything is going to, like, I can't even, you know, it's so like sad for me. And well, I think the child is such a responsibility. Again, you don't want to have a child with someone who is not like stable, your partner is not stable. I know some women, because they are single, they decide eventually to have a child on their own, and either use like a bank sperm or just whatever way they getting pregnant, doesn't, let's not get into it. They can like raise the child by themselves. And once I had my child, and before I never could really understand that, but you know, once I had my child, I can actually understand why people do that, why women do that. And I know how important it is to have actually a father figure. So I'm very grateful that my partner is such an amazing person. I can see already when he's coming from work, Peppy, he's just getting crazy about him. But I can also understand the other side now, that women, they just want to have a child, raise a decent human, and you can still do it without having a father. But it's good to have some kind of man figure in your life, you know, either grandparent or whatever. But just saying, it's just very important for child development, you know, because again, this is can very affect a child's future, like, and the brain mentality, if the child is only raised by a mother, you know. And I have a friend who is as well have two mothers, and he's amazing. But when I even like spoke with him and everything, I could see that there was something. He was very like feminine, and you could see that he didn't really have this kind of like a father figure in his life, you know. You can just see that, you know. But again, we're going far deep from the subject I want to talk about. So yeah, if you're thinking to have a child, if you're thinking like, oh, I'm not really this kind of I'm not loving every single child in the world, well, I didn't either. And your own child is going to give you this different kind of feeling. You're not going to still like love every child in the world. You just going to love your own very much, very strong, and you shouldn't really worry, you know. And if you think to have a child, don't think too long, because there's never going to be perfect time. If you have a job, if you have a situation that at least something you might get from the government, that's a good time, you know, because you want to get some kind of benefit, because this is just going to support you and your child. So yes, there's never perfect time for having a child. What for us was this moment as well, that we decided that this is perfect time, like this is there's never going to be perfect better time than now. For us was that we wanted really to have our own house. So we, or flat, whatever, how you call it, whatever. We were living for a moment alone in Trun, so there's like a seaside, which is beautiful. But then I lost my job, and we moved to Peter's parents for a period maybe of 6 months. And as lovely as they are, we were living with them, and you getting on your nerves, you know, together. You don't want to really live with your child, with your parents, like with your parents. I couldn't live with my mom, and on top of that I was living with his parents, so it's like even like people who I don't really know so well, and it sometimes could get a little bit tense. And I am grateful that we were living with them, but I was really happy when once we moved out and we could just live with ourselves, you know. This is like the best move you can do. But for us, both of us, was very important to have our own place. So we took a mortgage, we found a place. It took us a bit, maybe it took us about 4 months before we found our home. And it just happened in perfect timing, everything. But if you as well considering like what is going to be next step in your life, and having your own house is just something what you should think before you have a child as well. If you can plan something, then yes, this is something what I would recommend, to actually first plan your first plan your like a house situation, so you don't need to rent, so you're just paying for yourself, because paying rent is just the biggest waste of money you can do, like, ever. Because you're going to pay, our friend for example, he's paying for 6 years, he already paid someone 30 grand.
That's my child who can't be in one position for 5 minutes, you know, and that's already him grabbing, trying to grab the camera. Yes, you are famous. You are famous. Yes. So yeah, speak with your friends if they have any like leftovers, like left clothes, whatever they have left. If you could even buy from them, or if they can give it to you, because we saved so much money from having those kind of like older stuff from the friends. Like thousands, I'm talking about thousands. We have already in his wardrobe, we have like clothes for up to here is going to be, I think, 2 or 3. So, you know, this is the way you can as well think when you're actually planning to have a baby. I think I'm going to wrap this video here because someone is unhappy. Someone is unhappy. Someone needs to be in the centrum of attention, yeah? Yeah, so thank you for watching, and if you have any question, please leave the comment and please give it a thumbs up because it's really supporting my channel, and subscribe. Bye bye.